The staff at Mandeville School would like to wish you a very happy World Book Day 2021. And to get you excited about reading, we've prepared some extracts from some of our favourite books. Books can take you anywhere, which is a really important thing, especially during a lockdown. An extract from one of my favourite stories is called Yertle the Turtle. And Yertle the Turtle, the king of the trees, the king of the air and the birds and the bees, the king of a house and a cow and a mule, well, that was the end of the Turtle King's rule. For Yertle, the king of all Solomon's song, fell off his high throne and fell plunk in the pond. And to say the great Yertle, the marvelous he, is king of the mud, that's all he can see. And turtles, of course, all the turtles are free. And turtles, maybe all creatures, should be.
The next moment, James was running back towards the house as fast as he could go. He would do it all in the kitchen, he told himself, if only he could get in there without Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker seeing him. He was terribly excited. He flew through the long grass and the stinging nettles, not caring whether he got stung or not on his bare knees. And in the distance he could see Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker sitting in their chairs with their backs towards him. He swerved away from them so as to go round the other side of the house. But then, suddenly, just as he was passing underneath the old peach tree that stood in the middle of the garden, his foot slipped and he fell flat on his face in the grass. The paper bag burst open as it hit the ground, and thousands of tiny green things were scattered in all directions.
There, peeping among the cloud rack, above a dark tor high in the mountains, Sam saw a white star twinkle for a while. The beauty of it smote his heart. As he looked up out of the forsaken land, and hope returned to him. For, like a shaft clear and cold, the thought pierced him that in the end the shadow was only a small and passing thing. There was a light and high beauty forever beyond its reach.
I know that afternoon was one of the best afternoons I'll ever have. Not because it was my birthday, but because it was an end to one of the best adventures a brand new 12-year-old could ever have. And the beginning of a whole set of new adventures that I bet even Tintin never had. And it was all thanks to a boy who came and sat at the back of the class, and who let me be his friend.
Then tell me about the man who discovered the balloon, and the cow would jump over the moon. Then tell me about the dish, ran away with the spoon. But them never tell me about Nanny the Maroon. Nanny, seafar woman, of mountain dream, fire woman struggle, hopeful stream, to freedom river.
Prime numbers are what is left when you've taken all the patterns away. I think prime numbers are pretty much like life. They're all very logical, but you could never work out the rules, even if you spent all your time thinking about them.
One day, the giant came back. He'd been to visit his friend, the Cornish ogre, and had stayed with him for 7 years. After the 7 years were over, he had said all that he had to say, for his conversation was limited, and he determined to return to his own castle. When he arrived, he saw the children playing in his garden. "What are you doing here?" he cried in a very gruff voice, and the children ran away. "My garden is my own garden," said the giant. "Anyone can understand that, and I will allow nobody to play in it but myself." So he built a high wall around it and put up a notice board. "Trespassers will be prosecuted." He was a very selfish giant.
"Christmas won't be Christmas without any presents," grumbled Joe, lying on the rug. "It's so dreadful to be poor," sighed Meg, looking down at her old dress. "I don't think it's fair for some girls to have plenty of pretty things, and other girls nothing at all," added little Amy, with an injured sniff. "We've got father and mother and each other," said Beth, contentedly from her corner. The 4 young faces, on which the firelight shone, brightened at the cheerful words, but darkened again, as Joe said sadly, "We haven't got father, and we shall not have him for a long time." She didn't say, perhaps never, but each silently added it, thinking of father far away where the fighting was.
The words were on their way, and when they arrived, she would hold them in her hands like clouds, and she would ring them out like the rain. The best word shakers were the ones who understood the true power of words. They were the ones who could climb the highest. One such word shaker was a small girl. She was renowned as being the best word shaker of her region because she knew how powerless a person could be without words.